Andrew Whitehead, a British journalist, is joining us here on the show. Andrew, first of all, I want to understand from you that though the succession took place quite smoothly and immediately, Prince Charles was King Charles III, but I understand the official proclamation will be made only tomorrow at 10 a.m. What does it technically mean?
This is a little bit of ritual and ceremonial. So tomorrow morning, an organisation called the Accession Council, which hasn't met for 70 years, will formally meet at 10 o'clock, and after that there'll be a proclamation of King Charles III as Britain's new king. He is already the king, and the royal standard is flying over Buckingham Palace, which confirms that the monarch is in residence. But this is a little bit of ceremonial which will take place tomorrow to confirm that Britain has a new monarch.
Andrew, also, the outpouring of grief was pretty visible there. There were so many people lined up outside Buckingham Palace, all wanting to meet King Charles III as his mother and Queen Elizabeth passed away yesterday. He was trying to make that connect with the people, trying to probably learn from what his mother has passed on to him, because she used to do pretty much the same.
Yes, but it's quite striking, and those pictures are only a few minutes old, but it's quite striking that the mood outside Buckingham Palace of people who are coming to mourn as well as anything else, the mood was actually quite upbeat. The king was smiling. A lot of people were clearly very excited to be meeting the new king. I saw one person who gave the king a kiss on the cheek, another who kissed his hand. There were some shouts of "Long live the king" and informal renditions of the new national anthem, "God Save the King," the first time we've had that as our anthem wording for 70 years. So I was quite surprised. It wasn't the somber tone, the solemn tone that we had yesterday with the news of the Queen's death, and I'm sure that we'll have again when the body comes back to London to lie in state in Westminster Hall, and then of course in about 10 days' time there will be the most solemn moment of all. There'll be the funeral at Westminster Abbey.
It's a significant dichotomy that, yes, you are pointing out, because I remember Queen Elizabeth, when she spoke about her 70 years of accession to the throne, also pointed out how that day always reminds her of the passing of her father, after which she took over. So yes, it's one person becoming the head of the state, but after the passing of another person. Andrew, I'd request you to stay on with us. Radhika is joining us from London, from outside Buckingham Palace, with more details and to get us a sense of what's happening on the ground at the moment. Radhika, you've been speaking to a lot of people, and Andrew's, very rightly pointed out that while there was a very somber, solemn mood yesterday because of the passing of the Queen, today people have in some sense welcomed the King to Buckingham Palace, King Charles III, even though it's just a day after his mother and Queen passed away.
Indeed, yes. Just this morning early, I've been here from about 2 in the morning outside Buckingham Palace, and there were still people with candles, there were tears. I met a lot of people who shed tears and were indeed very emotional. Having said that, while they are mourning the loss of the Queen, they're also cherishing her life, her achievements. And now with King Charles actually making it to Buckingham Palace, the mood has just become that much more better. Now, I have with me 2 lovely women. One of them has actually met the Queen, exchanged dialogues with the Queen. Tell us your story. What happened?
So in 2017, I was given the opportunity to perform at the Buckingham Palace for the India-UK Year of Culture. And right after the performance, I, was given the opportunity to meet her. But I missed that photo moment because I went to change into my sari. But the master of the household was kind enough to bring Her Majesty out, and she came. She spent time with me, looking at my sari, admiring the silk, talking about her trips to India, and even trying out a few Indian hand mudras and learning more about kuchipudi. So for me, as a young girl, 5 years ago, I felt so grateful, so honored that, this person who is an institution, who represents history and, has that humility to talk to
All right, we seem to have lost our link there with Radhika here. We'll go back to her in a bit. But yes, people are recounting their moments with the Queen if they ever had the chance to meet her in person. Andrew, today a lot of people are also talking about the Queen's sense of humor. I read so many articles about how she had a great sense of humor. Do you think that in some sense takes the sharp edges of what can be difficult as a monarch? You know, that sense of humor takes those sharp edges away.
Yeah, she was a very reserved and shy person for somebody who spent her life meeting the public, but there was a really rich sense of humour. She had quite a wicked laugh. And the prime ministers who have had private meetings with her over the decades have been saying in the last 24 hours, in the aftermath of the Queen's death, that one of the joys of having those weekly conversations, those audiences with the Queen, is that there was a really good repartee, and she laughed a lot and she made jokes. She actually enjoyed using humour as a way of making people relax. But I mean, she was a very humble person. She was a person of great integrity. She had a profound sense of public duty. And even among those who aren't necessarily great admirers of the idea of the monarchy, the Queen herself was respected and admired. And I think a lot of people here who don't have really a lot of time for the institution have been surprised how sad they feel at the Queen's death.
And what do you think are going to be the challenges of King Charles III now that he takes over after 70 years of UK or Great Britain having just one single monarch?
Well, it's going to be really tough because Charles himself is 73. He is the oldest person ever to ascend to the throne. So if he has any ideas of modernising the monarchy, it's going to be really rather difficult because in some ways he's not all that modern himself anymore. Time has passed him by. He also has a slightly more controversial personal history. He has been an advocate of issues such as the environment, organic farming, which are to some degree contested. He said that as monarch he won't be doing advocacy or lobbying. But one of the things about the Queen is that she was quite aloof from partisan politics, from party politics. She avoided anything that was controversial, which is why she was so widely admired. And I think that Charles needs to learn that lesson, because if he gets steeped in controversy, he will damage the standing of the royal family.
Right. Andrew, many thanks for joining us with your perspective here on the show.